recording devices are on here. Let's
Oh
see
my
here. I'm
God.
going a little loud. I'm going a little loud on the mic, so I'm going to cut the mic down just slightly, but only slightly, because that'll work. All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 559 of Just Joshing. I'm your host, Joshua Pentolaresco. I write stuff and podcast too, and illustrate and stream and broadcast and do all kinds of other crazy stuff that I do things. We'll just say that I just do things and things happen. And my guest is writer, editor, streamer, content creator. I don't know if you actually stream.
Not yet. Not by myself anyway. I'm on streams, but I don't do streams.
Oh, you're on a stream right now.
Yeah.
Hey, you're on a stream right now. It's the one and only Nikol Popovics.
Hello.
Hello. So we were just talking to the air. It's like I literally decided, actually when I was still in Calgary, I decided that I had gone as far as I wanted to go in terms of working for people. I'm too old. That was my whole thing. Like, what am I going to be the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's been some unexpected speed bumps, pandemic, weird apocalypse, everybody around me losing their minds. I don't care what side of the fence you're on, you are all crazy, right?
Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah. But it's occurred to me too, because I'm watching not just what's going on now, I can see some of the problems that are coming up the pike down the road. So it's weird when everything is expensive and it doesn't seem like you can go anywhere that's really different. It occurred to me very simply, well, I have to answer the hardest question I've ever had to answer for myself is, where do I want to go? Because I might as well just go there. Because to me, it just doesn't make it makes no sense anymore to settle for anything on any level.
Yeah.
Relationship, career, nothing. Why settle? At this point in the ball game, if everything is expensive and everything is cheap in terms of working for somebody, why would I care? If that makes sense. I might as well be whatever I want to be, where I want to be, with whoever I want to be with.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It seems a very incredible, simple philosophy, but it took me about 38 years to figure it out. So. And
some people never figure that out, honestly. Some people just kind of they just get so complacent and they don't even realize that, they're just doing something for the sake of doing it and they don't even want to do it.
It's familiar. That's just it. It's familiar.
Yes.
That doesn't mean I won't work out, do other things. Very quietly, I'm in my current job. I'm training for my next just stuff after, because I don't want to keep doing physical jobs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm young enough where I can still do them, no problem. I don't feel really any pain. I can still literally lift a couple thousand pounds a day and walk 8 clicks, not really feel it. Right, which either makes me incredibly tough or incredibly stupid. I guess you guys all decide that one.
It's on the fence for me.
Yeah, it's on the fence. I admire how strong and yet dumb you are. Strong like ox, brain like dumb truck, or is it strong like dumb truck, brain like ox?
You said it, not me.
Yeah, okay. I can make fun of myself. It's all good. It's my show. Listen, they gave me nominations for making an ass of myself on the show, and I've won awards for it, so I'm good at what I do.
I'm not going to question you,
Yeah, I know. No, I'm just going to let him, did it. Right. But, one of the things I've learned in life, it's really easy to get caught in a situation where it's just well, I'm stuck. I don't have anywhere I can go. That's actually never true. Now, sometimes the places you can go suck. I'm not going to say they don't suck sometimes, but we all have to make decisions about who we want to be, where we want to go, and kind of how we want to do it.
Yeah.
And for me at least, I just realized that, Canada, for whatever reason, wants to go broke. United States kind of wants to go broke. So if we're all going to be poor, how can I get to the beach?
Exactly.
Yeah. I can be poor on the beach. I can be a beach bum. All right. Pants are optional. The weather's always nice. I have to keep myself in somewhat good shape because if pants are optional, that means I probably should look like I could last.
I mean, you know what? I feel like even that's optional. Like,
Oh yeah,
have you ever been to Europe? Like, people there just have no shame. Like,
oh yeah,
just
totally.
let it all hang out. Who cares? Let yourself
Yeah.
go.
Well, that's the thing. Like honestly, no one cares. I mean, the honest truth of the matter is, no matter what anyone will tell you, no one truly gives a shit.
Yeah,
There's that moment of outrage, and then nothing. Then
yeah.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't realize that like nobody actually cares about anybody except for themselves. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, I think it's even one more thing. Like, here's the thing: are you really? I mean, do I have that fascinating a body that you're going to remember it tomorrow? I mean, I'm flattered if the answer is yes, but I mean, I gotta be like very pragmatic about this, right?
yeah,
I have
yeah.
seen some incredibly pretty women in my time, and as beautiful as they were, or not so beautiful as they were, depending on the situation, right? You don't remember the exact details. You
Mhm.
remember the experiences those people gave you.
Mhm.
That's what you remember about people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right? You
Exactly.
don't really care about anything else. Like everything else kind of goes up and down, and it's like, well, he might be like in my case. I'm sure most of it, he's a little crazy, but he's fun and people, and he's a good dude. And that's
Mhm.
generally the impression I make with people. Um, and I'm good with that. Like I'm really, really, really good with that. Like that's the experience I go for when I meet people. That's what I hope for. Everything else about me, meh. Like you're not gonna remember. Like I mean, this is the ultimate like ego crusher in one hand because it's like
Mhm.
all this hard work I did to promote my podcast, my books. In one very real sense, it's a vanity. It's all for naught.
Yeah.
On the flip side, though, it's what I love to do. So that's why it matters. If I didn't love it, it means shit.
Yeah, like why bother doing it, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So I mean that's kind of how I see it. That's my philosophy of life. So I'm watching Canada going. So I look at Canada. I'm like, so in 5 years we're all going to be broke, based on what I've seen and how it's being done. Because our leaders are. I don't care what your political affiliation. All our leaders are crazy.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
No, totally.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter what your allegiance is. You are with a crazy person who doesn't know your name. Do keep
Yeah.
that in mind whenever you think about your leaders. Um, and the thing about that is, like, I'm watching it, I'm seeing it. Like, I don't want to touch a house. Like, you couldn't right now pay me to touch a house. Okay, maybe I am enough of a whore, but it has to be a significant chunk of change. Maybe even look at a house, right? But because I don't like, I'm looking at the next 5 years. What the lack of skyscrapers being built in the future? Why would you build a skyscraper anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Right? People are working from home. That's not like whenever the pandemic officially comes to an end, the office job as we know it is done, which means
Yeah.
right, um,
Yeah.
it's done. I mean, there are some office jobs that will go back, but not that many, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, why would you? Like, I mean, I haven't worked in an office in like, God, I don't even know how long. I honestly don't remember the last time I was in an office job. But like other people that I know work office jobs, and they're all like, I don't want to go back. I'm so happy at home. Like a lot of them are much more productive, and I'm sure that
Yeah.
a lot of companies are seeing that too. A lot of
Well,
companies are
yeah,
seeing that they're happier, so of course they're going to do a better job. They're going to stay at their job longer. Why
yeah. So I
bother?
mean, you still need to do some team building once in a while. I mean,
Mm,
that's the big thing, and Zoom sucks. I mean, Zoom can't do that very well, but
yeah.
right. So you're going to need like a space for that. But what are we talking about here? We're talking like a floor of a building, maybe a couple floors,
Mm-hmm.
a whole
If that.
building, right? A whole building like we know it. So when these companies start merging into the buildings, they're going to go to the cities that they live in and go, hey, look, we don't need these buildings anymore. But we'll tell you this profit for zillions of dollars. So this is what you've been charging us for years and years and years and years. And now you're a city, and you're going to yourself, oh shit, all this revenue is gone. And you're not building any more of them because again, who's gonna go use them now? Right?
Yeah.
So
what do you think is going to happen? Do you see it as kind of like, do you think that all the buildings are just going to be left to crumble and it's going to be like
no. I don't know about that. But this is what I do see. What I do see is if you own a home and you haven't paid for your home, and you won't have it paid within the next 5 years, you're in trouble. Especially if you're in a smaller town, because any town that has an office structure, like I live in Windsor right now. Windsor does not have a small business structure worth mentioning. It's not a knock to Windsor. It's just a smaller city, and it never built its infrastructure beyond the auto industry. It has been the knock on Windsor for as long as I've been alive. Right? They've never changed to the bitter end, and that they're going to pay for that. A city like Calgary still has some small businesses, but even in Calgary, you've seen this. People have exodus to the city.
Oh yeah.
There's been a mass exodus of the city
for years now.
Yeah, and more as time goes on, it's probably going to go down to somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 people when it's all said and done, right? Which, considering where that was, that's a huge drop. So here's the thing, though. The only people in cities like that are going to be able to tax are homeowners. So if you're a homeowner and you don't own your house, you're going to go insolvent. If you own your house, it's paid off completely, you have a shot at keeping it. It's still going to cost you an arm and a leg, at least in the very short term. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it like, I think the pandemic is going to give way to the second housing collapse. But this time, unlike last time, it's going to be Canada's going to take the brunt of this. Right? I'm looking at Toronto, I'm looking at Calgary now. They've already started. Right? But more places will join them over time. As again, if you look at a city, why does a business need a skyscraper anymore? So there is opportunity. And also, here's the other thing too. That, you can convert those skyscrapers to homes, which is going to devalue the home even more because, right? Because what else are you going to do with those buildings? Like when you sit there, you're not going to put stores in there, right? But you can put people in there. You can put people in those buildings, right? I mean, that's a great use of them. But again, if you're looking at it from that point of view, why would you buy a house, right?
Yeah, like I'm a starving artist, so I've kind of just like, I've made peace with the fact that I'm never going to be a homeowner. At least not as
you might someday.
But again, would I want to buy a house here in Canada?
That's a fair question. No, that's fair. That's the other fair question, right? Too. Like if you have kids, sure, there's value in a house if you have kids.
But at the same time, though, like my parents moved us to Canada when I was little, so you can still travel and move and go anywhere if you have kids. I don't know. I guess it all kind of depends on like what you want your life to be and where you see yourself, and like, just kind of like what kind of life do you want to have, and just kind of go forward with that.
Exactly. No, that's a big part of it. That's an absolute huge part of it. In my case, like I get my officially first automobile in July. Looks like I have my first car in July.
Nice.
So I'll have insurance for a little bit when I get my as I get my license and stuff. All that stuff taken care of. So I'll have an insurance payment, but I don't have a car payment. So I can at that point get insurance in the States, get an American license plate, and drive across the border, and not worry about it.
So if you go across the border, what scares you the most, the pandemic or guns?
Neither.
Okay, good.
No.
You're brave. You're much more brave than me.
I'll tell you why. I lived in Arizona. So in Arizona, you have open carry.
Okay.
So the only time I was ever freaked out seeing a gun in person in Arizona was when I was going to the airport and And you have these security guards with these semi-automatics, and I'm thinking to myself, I really hope it's not up to you to save the day. That's literally in my head. That's literally in my head, right? When I see this, I really hope it's not up to you.
Oh no.
But for the most part, you'll see open carry. You'll see open carry as a regular occurrence down there, and when it's a little jarring when you first see it, but you get used to it because for the most part, gun culture is very different down there than I think that a lot of people realize.
Yeah.
It's not the problem really. I'm not gonna say there isn't a problem with the kind of guns people can access. That can be truly a terrifying thing.
Yeah.
But it's very rarely the attitudes of the people that are buying guns. Again, very rarely. There are some very notable exceptions on this. It's it's the R&D culture, like the so the United States has two complexes: military and pharmaceutical.
Mm-hmm.
They scare me a lot more than the average person do. And down there they kind of both just kind of run amok, and that's the scary part of living in the United States. The pandemic, I'm not scared. I've already dealt with death on my own personal conversation with death. I rarely get sick, but when I do get sick, it's weird shit. It's not like coughs, colds, anything like that. It's genuinely weird shit. So
Like weird shit like how?
well, no, so about 4 or 5 years ago, I had this like my skin was red, all red except for like maybe the top of my face, and no, even my face, everything but like my pelvic region was completely red. I had like this biofilm coming out behind my knee. That oh yeah, I told you this is weird shit. Like I'm not kidding with you.
What? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, this I told you.
This is
I
like some
don't get normal,
sci-fi stuff here.
right? And I was limping for months, and every time was able to get the biofilm out of my back of my knee, it hurt tremendously, but I was not in control of my body, and it gave me a very interesting perspective on sickness I never had before, because the idea that your body you can lose control of what's going on with your body,
Mm-hmm.
and you think the things you take for granted that you just do so automatically, and like gone, like just gone for whatever reason.
Like
I've
what?
been through that. So like a lot of people's worst fears, in my own way, I've experienced. I've met my own mortality kind of face to face. So I know I'm going to die, and it's probably going to be painful someday, right? That's just the way it is. Number two, right? I've been where my body has betrayed me, has been at the point of breaking down. I know what that's like. So two of the biggest fears this pandemic has created, I have already personally experienced.
Mm.
So for me, that alone right there, that makes me look at it very differently. Because I know I'm going like nothing this risk. In one very real sense, the world has not changed.
Mm-hmm.
We would not notice COVID. The death toll in COVID was about the same as tuberculosis in 2018. Okay, maybe a little bit more, but not by much. And we didn't even blink at that. We didn't even blink at that. It's only because anybody can have it, and it can be anywhere, that we're reacting the way we are. If this was in a third world country, we'd ignore it. That's more of a commentary on us than anything else, but that's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So I look at it like this: the playing field's just level right now. That's all, right?
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
Yeah, the playing field's just level. That's all this is. This has always gone on. There has always been diseases that can go in and do things to you. There's always, when I wake up every morning, there is a chance I will not go to sleep. I will be somewhere else by the end of the day. That's always been a risk. The world has not changed. I mean, I hate to break. Like people make say this changed. No, it hasn't. This is something that normally happens in the world all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just now the big difference is everybody's feeling it. That's all. And it can happen to anybody, and there's still although there is more so. Louisiana just opened up. Florida just opened up completely. Texas just opened up. The United States is going to be out of the pandemic by July, one way or the other. They are going to leave it behind. Canada's another story. Although I do think that the United States coming out is going to make us come out too, regardless of where we're at.
I think, yeah. I mean, like Canada kind of goes like that, right? Like whatever the U.S. does, Canada follows.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. So
yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen at this point. I don't think it matters where we're at per se. I think what's going to matter is California open? Because the moment California is open, that will mean the States is pretty much going to be open again. And when that happens, Canada will follow shortly behind. That's how I see it. I am not because Lord knows it's not going to be because of what I see on the leadership end of things. I didn't. Yeah, I don't care what problems you're in. Just about you're kind of been wrecked. So it's not going to be our leadership. It's going to be the fact that circumstances outside our bubble have changed. When those circumstances change, we will be officially, quote unquote, out of the pandemic. The virus is here to stay.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like regardless of whether you take the vaccine or don't, I'm waiting 2 years. I have a real problem with the R&D process of any disease, anything like this being skipped for any reason whatsoever, and that's a precedent I'm not a real big fan of. Now, again, I understand people that again, I'm not. How do I put this? Yeah, one second here. I'm just making sure. Seeing my video here. Oh, geez. No, it's going to be one of those things where like this, the outside's going to solve the inside. Regardless, the virus is going to stay here. We're going to have to make some decisions going forward about what kind of world we want it to be. But no matter what we choose, it's going to be the same world. There's going to be the same issues. There's going to be, you and I are still going to have to worry about dying horribly to some kind of pain and dealing with the fact that we might lose control of our bodies along the way when we do it. This sounds incredibly cynical and self-serving. I know. It's not. It's just accepting the possibilities of the worst case scenario and then getting on with life.
Yeah.
Because life is risk. It always will be. Safety is the greatest lie. That's just my opinion.
I think it's in the CBT thing where we talk about like our worries and like what's your biggest worry, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen, is that really that bad? And really, I mean, the answer is always no, it's not that bad. Like the worst possible thing you could think of, is that really that bad?
My worst things have evolved quite a bit because I've had some bad shit happen to me. So, but here's what you learn when you're in those moments: it's not what you imagined it to be. It's not. I've been so poor, I wondered where my next meal was coming. There's a trauma with that I never anticipated, because there is definitely trauma. Not having any control over your circumstances. There's it's an ego beating, but it's also a pride. It's a beating on a level I think a lot of human beings who've never been there ever will understand. Right? I've been my whole teeth issue when I was in Calgary. That was me. That was a lot of those circumstances weren't under my control. I had to accept the fact that bad things happened. And sometimes they just happen, and you've got it. I mean, life's unfair, and this is just me. Like everybody's got their own versions of these really bad things, and what the truth is, they all hit you in unexpected ways. They always do. They don't hit you the way you imagined it hits you. It's what you do with them afterwards that really makes or breaks the difference. If you're still standing, if you're still here. Right? If it doesn't kill you, where do you go from here?
Yeah. And I think that bad things happening is think this is an unpopular opinion alert here, but I think it's really important for us to go through bad things and bad experiences. And even though, yes, there are certain societal things and certain societal structures that could be improved and definitely need to be improved for sure, I think that it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be something in life that hits you that you're going to have to deal with, because that's how you grow, that's how you change, and that's how you become a stronger person. And without those really bad experiences, you can't really, you can't have the good ones, you can't appreciate the good ones, you can't appreciate what life has to offer you. So in that sense, I would say that, like, you know, bad bad is life, just the same way that, like, good is as well. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean, right? Right.
So we do comedy. I don't know if you do comedy, but when I do comedy, some of my favorite comedy stuff is Spider-Man. I'm a comic book guy. This probably surprises nobody. Um, but my favorite thing
Surprises me.
it surprises you totally,
Yeah.
totally. So, but my favorite Peter Parker is when not all his jokes are funny. He's always cracking jokes when he's Spider-Man. The reason he cracks jokes is he's scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
And it's his way of keeping himself sane while he's doing these really stupid things he does because of the great power, great responsibility thing he believes in so strongly. But he tells bad jokes. I hate him when they're perfect. I hate it when it's just this perfect dialogue zinger. That's not Peter. Peter's a nerd. Some of his jokes he's the only one that's gonna laugh, right? But the thing is, when the reason why they're so good is they dirty up the canvas. So when you see something that really, really pops, like when he does do a zinger, when he does do that big one line, boom, you know it's good. And it's because he's jacked, like he's taking you on a bit of a ride. Oh, good joke. Okay, that was crap. Good joke again. Good joke. Okay, that was crap. Good joke. Good joke. Okay, that was really good. Oh wow, why it was too bad joke. Holy crap, that was funny, right?
Yeah.
And that's the ride a comedian takes you on when he performs on the stage. Not all his material up there is actually good.
Mm-hmm.
It's on purpose. It's all at different levels. And when you put on a show, you want things to feel different because you want the good jokes, the ones you worked your ass off on for weeks on end, to actually be funny. And not just one where you're like, I knew this was good. I swear. Why is no one laughing? Right? Right? And that's I mean, that's the thing, right? Life's the same way.
Mm.
Although as a comedian, life kind of sucks. But occasionally though it gets you good. Like when a seagull does that bird poop on your car, that's like just giving you a little signs like that's what your day is going to be like, and we've all been there. But the thing that I'm getting at here is life has this tendency of going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I have because of my times when I was so poor. One of my greatest like just personal luxury things. Hot water. Hot water. I enjoy the hell out of that. It might sound like a really simple little thing, but I remember when I didn't have a hot water, and because I remember that, and that was when I was even working with the author I worked with. There were some hard times in that, even that, and before my real hard times began after that. But it's valuable. So now I look at hot water very valuably. I also look at toilet paper. I want to clean up a lot more valuable than I used to too. And I recognize too, civilization really, if you break it all down, right? You can tell who the wealthy nations are. They have hot water and toilet paper. Sad but true.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's sad but true. Like you go to these countries, like, what do you use for toilet paper? And you see these like weird beads, like, oh. And then like toilet.
Or like if they have something that they use is already a luxury, because some places don't even use toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they can't. So. They can't. They just don't have it. Sometimes it's like a little washcloth, right? Sometimes it's a washcloth. Sometimes it's a few other things, right? I didn't think I'd be talking about how to wipe my ass on a chat conversation with you, but that's where we're at. First on this show. Same topics
We went
covered.
from getting really philosophical to wiping your ass with toilet paper. I love it.
This is also oddly philosophical. Yes, I still don't know how the 3 shield cells work in Demolition Man. I still have no fucking clue. But that's there you go. Right. But all which to say is like ups and downs are important, and you need the downs to not only appreciate the ups, but the downs I think also serve a very other really big. The ups serve it too, but the ups it's a little bit different. It's harder in some ways, but easier than others. But down when you're in your toughest moments, you show the world who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why those down moments are there, because when you have those down moments, all that's there is you and life. And it's you and the Almighty, you and life, you and the universe, whatever it is you subscribe to. You can't run and hide anymore. Mm-hmm. You got to make a decision. You got to either shit or get off the pot. And no pun intended. Honest to God, no pun intended.
Is there toilet paper? That's
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Is there toilet paper? Because that comes into play.
But all of which to say that when you get right down to it, right, it's like those are the moments to tell you who you are. And when you're up, do you stay true to that? That's the temptation when you're actually on the really high notes. So when Nikol becomes a rock star writer, YouTube contenter, zillionaire, your videos are awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
They're really they're cute. Actually, what I'm going to describe, they're actually incredibly cute. I don't know if that's what you're going for. That's the impression I got when I watch your stuff. Is they're incredibly cute. They're honest.
You.
They're honest, but they have this like they almost feel like a dessert kind of thing. Yeah, they almost feel like that, like one of those cute like cupcakes with like those funky decorations. That's how I would describe your show. That's how I would describe your show on YouTube.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's, because you talk about your ups and downs very, very openly and honestly, but you seem to try to find like the bright side most of the time with them. And sometimes you just I don't know if it's on purpose, but you're like accidentally hilarious too.
Yeah, I'm just awkward. Like, I don't know. I am who I am, and then it comes across as awkward, and some people jive with that, some people don't. But yeah, it is what it is.
Well, no, so you gotta meet my friend SM Carrier, Sonia.
Okay.
She awkwardly plays Assassin's Creed, and her monologues on Assassin's Creed, they put me in tears. Like, I'm laughing so hard, they put me in tears. She's incredibly awkward at the game. Awkward is totally fine. Sarah Johnson, Allison's book, Sarah Johnson, is also incredibly awkward when you first meet her. Mm-hmm. It was my favorite Sarah Johnson story was the first time I interviewed her. So I bring my recorder up, I go in there, and she looks at it. Doesn't answer the question, she just looks at it for like a minute. To the point where one of her coworkers, you have to talk in the microphone. But that's the idea. She's looking. But that's how I really got to know Sarah. Because once you get by that awkward, she's a very she can be a really good friend. She's a great writer, and she's also has a certain she doesn't really have much of a bullshit filter, which I think is actually why I like about her so much. And it's all there. But she's awkward as hell the first time you meet her, and that was my awkward Sarah moment. So awkward's fine. Like awkward.
I just own it now. Like it's who I am. Yeah.
Hey, listen. I'm Nikol. I'm the awkward content creator. So there's marketing right there for you, right there.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Rebrand.
Ladies and gentlemen, She creates. She writes. She aspires. She's awkward. Nikol Popovics. You need some kind of catchy theme song though. Like I don't know, like something with explosions in it.
Yes.
Actually, it would make no sense to have like a Top Gun song there, but something like that bombastic.
Okay.
It would be like amazing. Like, I don't know.
I'll have to write something.
Yeah. Just something over the top, dumb. Just do it once, and you're like, okay, I did it once. Josh, shut up. I'm not doing it ever again. It was awkward even for me.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
So you're living your dreams, huh?
I am. I think I'm like, am I living my dreams? I guess my goal is there. I'm like grinding to my dreams, I would say. I would say that I am on the road, even though I know up here that once I reach my dreams, it's still going to be a grind. Like it's always kind of a grind, right? But yeah, I guess in that sense I am. But yeah, grinding to my dreams, I would say.
So what have you done? Like, okay, you post awesome YouTube videos, but what have you done? What have you done? And what have you tried? Like I found for me the first 6 months was me putting as much shit on the wall and see what stuck.
Yeah, I think that I really like doing vlogs. I tried doing like kind of like the how-to videos because I'm also a freelance editor, so I'm thinking I could give some writing advice. But then I'm like, you know what? Writing advice, I don't know that I even believe in writing advice at this point because recently I got some really bad writing advice that was just like not for me at all. And I never, ever, ever want anybody to feel like that ever again or at all, ever. And I never want to feel like that ever again. So I've kind of stopped doing writing advice and I like documenting my writing, although lately I haven't really posted because like honestly there's just not that much going on. Like it's just I'm just awkward and not doing much in terms of like new, like how can I make this new. But yeah, writing blogs, documenting my writing and just kind of going through the motions that way is kind of what I do on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I don't give writing advice anymore. That's kind of
so what was the writing advice that was terrible for you?
So it was kind of a personal thing where I was doing so I write thrillers. I write adult psychological thrillers and some urban fantasy. That's kind of like a passion project, but mainly my focus is psychological thrillers. And I was taking a mystery writing class, and one of the authors, or the author teaching it, she kind of gave me this advice that, like, I told her the premise of what I was planning on doing, and she just goes, "Yeah, no, do this instead." So I was like, "Okay, why?" And she's like, "Well, it just makes more sense if you have this premise instead." So I'm like, "Okay, I guess I can try it." And I tried it, and I wrote it, but I hated it. And yeah, it just wasn't, because it wasn't my story, it wasn't my idea, it just kind of wasn't me at all. And so yeah, it kind of like knocked the wind out of my sails. And it's only now that I'm kind of like recovering from that and ready to kind of get back on the thriller kind of thing in writing.
I don't need to know name. How well known was the author that gave you this?
She's fairly well known in Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's fairly well known.
Okay.
She's been at it writing a lot longer than I've been alive. And I'm not young. As you can see, I have gray hairs. I don't know if they're showing up on camera. They're not, thank God.
You're great. If it's there, it's very, very light. I mean, I think I'm a little older than you.
I don't know. Are you?
39.
Oh, okay. A little bit. Not much.
Yeah. It's not
34.
Yeah, it's not that much. I feel like I've aged well.
Yeah.
Like 90% of my hair is still here. Actually, more than that. I have it back like this because if I go like front, like I can grow my hair, as you can see. Like,
oh, I've known people who went bald in their like 20s.
I know.
Like early 20s.
No, I have a buddy. I have a buddy. He in high school he was starting to lose it, and
Oh
then
no, not high school.
oh yeah,
Yikes.
it was in London, Ontario. It's funny. Out of all my buds, there's just me and this one guy with the only one still with like a full head of hair, right? So it's like one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I got all my sexy hair, and most of it is still I do have the odd gray hair here and there now, but it's not. It's still very very mild. I'll get like this really peppery hair as I get older, and you know I get hit on more. It's great. So, I mean, that'll live
It's
with.
distinguished. It's
Yeah,
distinguished from
yeah.
men.
It's totally like, hey, you've been alive for a long time. How did you do that? No idea, but I'll take all the compliments I can get. But going back, like it sounds to me. So I simplified my advice. This is what I did. I asked always like this is how also I approach my editing too. What's the story I'm trying to tell? What is in the story that needs to be there, and what doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm merciless on the third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't get into premises with people because honestly, that's your story. I have no. Your premise might be better than something. I might not come up with that premise. That's not a bad thing. The world is bigger than me. Yeah. You understand that, but sometimes it's like, nope, my idea. I gotta believe in my idea. Mm-hmm. My idea is strong enough that it's gonna kick ass.
Yeah, and I have this thing. I think because both of my parents were teachers, so I'm very I'm a forever student. I love school. I love learning, and especially when it comes to teachers, I'm like I really take their advice to heart. And I think that's kind of like the dynamic that we were having, and that's kind of like what happened there, where I really took her advice to heart, but it wasn't the right advice for me, and that's a lesson that I learned as a writer the hard way. That not every advice is going to be for you, and especially in writing, like storytelling in general, not just writing books, but telling any kind of story, whether it's a comic book or a movie or even a song. Like you really can't take anybody's advice until it's completely finished and then listen to critiques then. But while you're still in the stages, especially in the early stages, just you got to shut that out. And yeah, that's the lesson I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, just you got to tell your story and see if it's actually worth being told. Mm-hmm. And then once you learn that, then you go, okay, do I know what I'm doing? No. Help! I need somebody.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, and in my bio, by the way, it says I don't know what I'm doing. It's actually going to be the first line. Joshua Pentelresco doesn't know what he's doing. He just does things. He's kind of like a dog who chases cars.
Yeah. But yet, it looks like you know exactly what you're doing.
I have a plan.
Okay.
I have a plan where I'm going. I'm just smart enough with podcasts is a very specific plan. It's been growing as a result. My books have a very specific plan. That's kind of why I'm going back to a day job, so I can implement the book phase of my plans.
Okay.
My freelance career has a idea of where I want to go with it. Might not work, might not, but yeah, I mean, and I had other plans. And sometimes I heard God laugh. Because God said, no, son, you're not doing that. I said, but God, this seemed like fun. It's like, no, son, it's not for you. It's okay. It's okay. I got something else for you. Does it have ice cream? Maybe. Just come this way. Because if you go this way, I'll let you go, but you're going to get smacked. Sometimes I listen and go for the ice cream. Sometimes I go for the idea. And then I have to get smacked. And then I'm like, okay, I had to try. I had to. Right. It's just that's my nature because that's crazy. But no, I have an idea where I want to go. It's and I do the work, and I always do the work on it because it's one of those things where it's just like, well, if I were to try to do something, okay, let's say your goal is to be the rock star YouTuber, right? What I'd be doing in your position is I'd be looking at other successful content creators and see what they do, and then how do I take some of this at least and make it my own, right? And your channel's grown quite a bit. Like you got more followers than I do on YouTube. Like you
Oh,
think
I don't know.
yeah, you do. I only have 112. YouTube's not my focus. Twitch is, right?
Okay.
So, but even so, still got more followers than me. You're good at what you do. Right?
Honestly, I'm not chasing followers. Like, I love that people follow me. I think it's kind of weird, but I love it. But you know, it's like I just put it out because I like it. I love making videos. I love the whole process of it. But yeah, I like doing it, and like people follow, and that's awesome. But if people don't, that's okay with me too. So sometimes I just kind of like do it just for the sake of doing it, you know? Like with my books, with my writing, I do have a plan. I do like you were saying, like, you know, kind of thought out, well, vaguely thought out. I don't know. Sometimes the plan often derails. Shouldn't say sometimes. It often derails. But when it comes to like certain things like YouTube, it's just like I just do it just for the sake of doing it, because I feel like not a lot of things lately in the society we're allowed to just do it just for the sake of doing it. It feels like everything has to be like, you know, you got to be monetized. You got to get all the numbers and the followers and the analytics. And like, I don't even pay attention to any of that stuff. So, yeah, I just do it for the sake of doing it sometimes. And it's
you have over double my followers just doing it your way. So. But you do need to post more content. And
I do. I know.
Honestly, if I may be so bold as to give you a suggestion,
of course,
talk about your experience writing that novel. I think that's actually a great. You know, it's technically writing advice. It's the best kind of writing advice because you're just telling an experience.
Yeah.
And also you can film yourself destroying paper. Honestly, stupid
setting it on fire.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Right? You
Yeah.
get pictures of yourself crying and drinking like downing food. You know what I mean? At the same time, it's like,
you know what though? The problem is that like the premise that she gave me, it does work. That's I think I hate it more because of that. Like the premise that she gave me was actually like a really good premise. So I'm like, okay, I'll write it, and then I wrote it, and it's pretty good, but like I never want to touch it again, like ever, just because it's tainted, you know.
Well, it's not yours; it's hers.
Yeah.
It's a good story. I'm sure it's a good story.
Yeah.
But it's not. It wasn't yours to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would tell you next time. Is, you know, when you get to like page 3, bail. You can feel it because you knew early on it wasn't yours either. Like you knew.
Yeah.
You knew.
I do. I know, like about the 25K mark, I knew that like something just wasn't feeling right, and I made it to halfway, like manuscript words, and then I had the rest of the story planned out. I even had some of it written, and then I'm just like, I can't. Like I even sent it to critique partners, and they're like, "Yeah, this is good, but it doesn't sound like you." And I'm like, I wonder why. So, yeah.
So I mean, that's it, right? I've learned a lot late. Now, again, I'm a whore, and I have accepted this part about myself very much. If you pay me enough money, I will write the greatest erotica thriller of all time. But you have to pay me a lot of money because I don't do erotic thrillers. I know I'm going to have one shot and it's going to be terrible. But if you want my absolute best effort, you're going to make it worth my while. Otherwise, I'm not going to touch it.
You know, that's not even like unrealistic because erotica thrillers make a lot of money.
Absolutely. No, I know they do. But I also know it's not who I am. I could probably I can definitely know how to tease a woman. I can definitely do that. And I know how to I can definitely go describe some of the things I've done or imagined doing anyway, at the very least, right? And I'm pretty sure I'd get a good response. But it's not the kind of story I want to write because it's just not me, right? It's just not. Now I'm not taking away from anyone that does do it because honestly, right? Honestly, it's a skill. It's a good. It's a great skill to have. It's a really really good skill. How you are literally getting into somebody's imagination and creating a fantasy for them. That's what you're doing when you're writing an erotica. That takes skill. I don't care
Yeah.
who's doing it, how's doing it. Like that takes legitimate skill. But but it's not a headspace I go to very often for those purposes. So I don't think I should stay there. But if there's someone did pay me enough money, I try.
Mhm.
Right? That's like I said, I am a whore, but just an honest one, right? So, but I'm well aware of what I do well and what I don't do well and what I need to work on. And yeah, so erotica thriller is not my thing.
No, not my
Penguin
thing either.
penguin zombie apocalypses, maybe, maybe I could do that.
Zombie apocalypse erotica thriller, perhaps?
Maybe just make all the zombies incredibly sexy, and it's make it like secretly a sex cult for the undead, right? And just convert everybody one by one by one. They actually seduce you instead of devouring you. They actually seduce you, right?
That is a Tina Belcher dream come true right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And then that's how you do it. And that's how you do it. You do the. I think the greatest worst zombie apocalypse I've ever seen was Fairy Tale. It's an anime show. So they have one of
Okay.
these characters that's just kooky over the top. He makes this potion that turns everybody into him. If anyone smells it, they become him. So like they infects the whole town and it becomes like
Oh
this
my god.
evil. It's like this hilarious take on the zombie apocalypse, right? Except they're all him, right?
Nice.
It's like oh no, right? Because it went crazy, it went hot, it went nuts, and but in like the funnest, dumbest way, right? Zombie apocalypses can be fun if you get rid of like the whole traditional zombie. Some
Mhm.
people love that stuff. I'm at that point where it's like,
Yeah, I was really into it when I was younger, probably like in my early 20s. I was really into it. Not quite Tina Belcher level, but like, I was into it. And like, yeah, now that I'm older, I don't mind a good zombie apocalypse, but it's got to be done differently for sure. Like find a way, like I don't know, like undead zombies, but then are they
one,
really zombies? I don't know.
one of my favorite movie concepts was is the zombie didn't have to fight you; he just had to murmur something to you, and you caught it.
Ah, yes,
That,
like Pontypool.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was really well done. I like that was clever. And if you want to have just some fun with the whole zombie apocalypse thing, go to Zombie Land, just the first
Mhm.
one. Bill Murray just
I
dressed
haven't
up.
seen the second one. I
No, no,
refuse.
no. I've never, I haven't either. The first one's good. Bill Murray made that movie awesome.
Oh yeah.
There's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
he just shows up. It's like, oh, I'm fine. I just wear makeup and no one bugs me. It's like I oddly believe that. I oddly believe that. It's just you get used to life, however that looks like, and it made me want Twinkies. So every time I watch that movie, I always want a Twinkie.
Yeah, no, I actually after I watched that movie I did not want to ever go near them. No. I don't know.
No, you said you stayed away from the Twinkies. Like that's no more.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about the fact that they like just have such a long shelf life kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should. It really should.
So,
No, it's
yeah.
fair. I won't touch McDonald's food for the same reason. All
Mm.
right, that food will outlast everything, including the mighty cockroach. Nothing ever should outlast the mighty cockroach. If you make something that does, you probably should burn it. You probably should.
If it even sets on fire.
Yeah, well, you gotta try. Burn it, freeze it, something. Everything
It
burns
will outlast
eventually.
fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've confessed to some strange things in this episode. I could be totally wrong, but I think I've confessed to some strange things. I miss you guys. I don't know
We miss you.
yeah, I don't know if and when I'll be back in Calgary again. Because it's weird. Because if I went back to Calgary now, I'd have all these weird circumstances meeting different people. Some people would be
Mhm.
with masks, some people would be without masks, some people it would just be. I mean, it'd be an experience, right? But
Yeah.
it'd be an experience. But I don't know, like like when I do come back, what my secret hope is, my true secret hope is, um, the writing group's mostly intact, and that nobody's too fractured from each other. That's the other.
Yeah.
That's the my hope, because this is a crazy time. This is a strange time. We all have our ideas on how we think the world works.
Mm-hmm.
I confess to being completely in the dark. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I said this at the very beginning. I don't know, and I really don't. I'm just gonna do my thing as how I know best and hope it works out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's just kind of how I see it. But I'm hoping when I come back, I can hang out with people and there won't be like this argument over what the virus is or isn't or how people think or feel. It's just, hey, you want a beer? Sweet, let's have a beer.
Yeah, it definitely. I think that's probably the toughest thing going through this whole Pandora's box experience is you start to see sides of people that have normally been like hidden away, and you didn't realize, oh, that person's like this. Oh, and like you kind of see them a little bit differently, and it sucks because like you don't want to see everybody like that. Especially when they're your friend and you thought that they were this one way, and then it's like the veil is pulled back and it's like, oh,
I wonder what people actually, now you've asked that, now this is me being an egomaniac, I wonder how people think of me at this point, because I've been open, I've been kind of like right in the middle. Like I acknowledge there's a virus, but I very much also say that at this point our leadership has zero credibility.
mm-hmm.
So I really don't know what to believe about it anymore, and I've been very much in that camp. So probably since we actually sent kids back to school. It was actually since when I went there, because that made no sense to me. It still makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't me either.
So
I don't know.
But I mean, so it's interesting. I mean, I've been blocked 3 times.
Oh,
I know.
wow.
I know. I think the interesting one. I think the interesting one for me is, my daily motivations, right? Every once in a while. Oh, 1 second here. She got booted out. There you go.
Ah,
you hit a button. Did you hit a button? Did you hit
I didn't. I swear, I didn't touch anything.
It's your fault. It's your fault.
It is not my fault.
It is your fault.
I'm not even near button. Come on.
I'm just picking on you now because it's funny.
I get so upset when people pick on me, and then it makes them pick on me even more. So,
well,
yeah.
You got to learn how to roll with it. I had siblings. I have a sibling, my sister. If you ever see my face feed, she'll pick on me all the time about her favorite is, it's not true, but I'll tell you, I gotta tell you, is when she hears my phone, she has a phone ring, mm-hmm. and she actually identifies me on her phone as Josh who sucks at cards.
Nice. Are you guys close in age?
Oh, she's 15 months younger than me.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty typical then.
Oh no, our history is interesting, but yeah, there's probably honestly no one on the planet I love more than her. Honestly, incredibly talented person, but the thing is, I learned from her and from others. When you get teased, it's actually a sign of affection. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying it's your fault. Yeah. Not really. I don't mean it in that way. I'm playing with you. So what you gotta learn how to do is play back, come back, and just be. I mean, again, you're witty, clever. You're a good author, editor, and stuff like that. You can be a little quick on your feet. You can find a way to make fun of me. I might even be like, right, and or maybe just throw like a little heart up like that. Like, oh, that's just really good, right?
Yeah. See, my sister is 8 years older and my brother is 11 years older. So I basically grew up like an only child. They're so much older than me that it was like they don't even care. But my sister and I would get into like such bad fights. Like it got violent at times. It wasn't like we don't have that kind of like teasing relationship where it's like, oh haha. No, it's like violence. like 0 to violence and then back to 0. And like we're fine after the violence is over and done with, and like we've pulled each other's hair out and there's a bald spot. We're fine after that. Like we're sisters again. But yeah,
Note to self, not even.
that's our teasing. So
But that's not teasing. That's okay. So your sister's the middle one.
yeah, yeah,
That's a combination. And I don't know this for sure, because if your sister does happen to hear this eventually, I don't want her to come
probably
beat me.
not.
Yeah, I don't want her to come beat me. It's a combination of three things. I've noticed this. When women do fight, you guys are much more vicious to each other than guys are.
Oh yeah,
Like you guys are just so much more vicious to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I look at you all and I'm like, how? And also, I sleep. If I'm with a girlfriend at times, like my girlfriend's really like this. I should be probably just a little afraid of her.
Yes, I think that's true for all women. You should just be just a little bit afraid of every single one of them.
A little fear is healthy, guys.
Yes.
And
Totally
other
normal.
partners. And other partners. Guys, little fear of the opposite sex is like, or same sex or
same sex. Like
yeah. A little
totally.
fear of your partner is probably a necessary thing
Yeah.
for a healthy relationship. So there was that.
Yep.
She probably was a little jealous of you. And the reason I bring that up is because she was just old enough to be the middle child.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She's not quite a decade, which means that she got to see you get spoiled. See, parents on the first kid make all the mistakes. The second kid, if there's three, whoever's the last kid gets the most benefit usually from the parents.
Well, also the last kid is usually the best too. So
there might be.
They've perfected it.
I'm going to plead the fifth because again, I might be just a touch terrified. I'm terrified you do both, so I'm just gonna go like this, nod head.
Mm-hmm.
But usually, the oldest is the kid where all the mistakes are made, and any kid that follows usually gets a benefit from all the mistakes of the older kid.
Mm-hmm.
So but she also kind of was just old enough because when she was 8, you were born.
Yeah.
She was a teenager. Okay, that probably didn't matter quite as much, but I'm almost going to willing to bet is when you entered your teens, that's when the fighting really started between you two. I'm almost going to bet money at that it would be around that time.
Maybe. I don't actually know. I don't remember when I was little.
Something to think about. But if it is the teens, it wouldn't shock me if it was during the teenage years it got to that point, because there comes a point, because once you're in the teenage years, the gap starts to close. Also starts to close, because what happens is once you're both adults.
Yeah, like now we're adults, we're cool. No violence happening anymore. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'm sure you two could get into a fist fight over something at this point, but not less likely. All of which to say that, like, because usually how that works is you get all the benefit. You're the one that's in the house. She's leaving, but while she's there, it's her house as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's the boss. She wanted to be the boss. She wanted you to know she was the boss. You probably put up with that to a certain point, but when you got older enough to you could defend yourself, like, screw that shit. I ain't taking your crap no more, sis. And that's when it got epic.
Yeah.
And then afterwards it'd be like there'd be respect, right? But you had to get to that epic level of fighting and not killing each other.
Mm-hmm. It got to that point quite a bit too.
Yeah. But that wasn't playtime. That was
rage. That was, I'm gonna murder you. I shouldn't say that. We're fine now. I love my sister. She's great. But yeah.
Yes. I'm terrified. Just so you say, the ripped hair thing is like, you guys, that's just not cool, man. Not cool. But I've noticed it's like women can be incredibly vicious, and I think there's Um, guys, generally speaking, if the body hits the ground and there's no movement, we walk. We're done. We know it's over. So, but sometimes if we do have a partner, but I've seen it with women. If that's the case, they still want to go and they want to do more. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's okay. We don't need to kill them. I don't want to explain that to the
We
coroner.
don't? What?
I don't want to explain that to the coroner. No, I don't.
That's an option?
Sometimes, but yeah, a little, like a little bit. But yeah, like it's part of like I don't think you had a playtime. I had a playtime.
Mhm.
Right, I had a playtime. At least when I was a kid. When we were separated for a very long period of time, then we got back together and we kind of built our relationship up. It's funny, like now we look after each other, which I think is kind of a really cool thing.
Mhm.
Um, I'm the oldest technically, but there are times she's the adult. There are times I'm the adult. And it's cool. I think having a sibling that close is actually a very cool thing. So
Mhm. Yeah, you have a friend for life when you have siblings. So, yeah.
for the most part, yes, for the
Mm.
most part. Let's think here. So your writing editing goals? What are they?
So, okay, my writing goals, I'm actually working on an adult thriller that's kind
Your
of
dark thriller? Just I'm saying the one you want to write.
it's one that I want to write, and it's just so it's kind of weird because there's aliens in it. So it's something that I'm really really excited about. And yeah, I'm going to be working on. I am working on that. I'm working on. I have this like little side project. It's like a little urban fantasy thing that I've just kind of been plugging along with. I don't really know what I'm doing with it. I don't know if it's ever going to be published or anything. It's just something kind of fun. I do it for the sake of doing it. I think it's important for me to have these projects because if I don't, then I get so caught up in the I have goals for this other project and I just kind of like get too much into my head. So just to kind of like have a project that I do just for the sake of doing really helps me kind of get out of that mode. So I always have two projects. Like one is like, okay, I want to get this published. The other one I'm just gonna do for fun. So I'm working on that. Editing, still working on my editing business. If anybody needs some editing help, if they're self-publishing or trying for an agent even, I'm here. Shameless plug, shameless plug.
Oh, we're gonna get to these shameless plugs at the end there. So what's
And
your goal? Like what's your goal?
my goal really, I don't know. I don't really have a goal. I just do stuff. That's the thing. When it comes to writing, I have a goal. My goal is to like write it, finish it, query it, get it published. I know like I always have that one goal, but when it comes to like other stuff, it's just like I don't know. I just got to do it. You know,
Okay.
that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
So I'm gonna ask before I give it to you. Would you like some advice?
Okay, bring it on.
Map out where you want to go with everything. If you want,
Yeah.
if you want a financial end to this, to everything you're doing. Now, if you don't care, then you don't need to do it. It's like fucking just you're having fun. I'm having fun. Okay, that's cool, right? But anything, including your editing business, your content creation, helping people find agents and stuff like that. If you have very specific goals,
Mm.
then it'll be easier to find the ways to get there. I always look
Yeah.
at big problems. I always look at problems as big problems as a bunch of small steps. And by having a clear idea what my goal is, I'm breaking those steps down bit by bit by bit by bit.
Yeah.
As I can
Smart
actually follow.
goals.
Well, it like they can be anything. I have a working at Warner Brothers goal. How do I get to that point? Well, I have this. I know this and this and this. Let's try this and see where this goes.
Mm.
Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. I want to work. I want to do video game stuff. So I'm putting my name out there. I have my goals is to write and voice some games. That's all I want to do. I'm sure there's voices out there, but again, I've made those goals clear. I've stated what I want, how I want it. And because of that, I find when you do stuff like that, it opens you up to more opportunities. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, and you also kind of like, I guess maybe because your brain is kind of open to it, you like start to see it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had one goal, like one of my goals was to make a specific number per month with my business, and so I actually wrote it down. And even though I kind of forgot about it, I realized when I was doing my accounting at the end of that month, I had actually made that amount of money. So I think it's kind of like I would say write it down too,
Yeah.
because when you write it down, it's kind of like it like I don't know solidifies it in your brain, you know, and then your brain like automatically looks for those kind of opportunities, and you don't like without even you realizing it. At least my brain, I don't know. Everybody's
No,
brains are
no,
different.
it's great advice. It's great advice. Build the roadmap
Mm-hmm.
one thought at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So lastly, so I guess I should ask this: with all the extra stuff you do, what is your favorite of your extra things to do?
My favorite of my extra things. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't have a favorite because
Ooh.
everything that I do, I have a very specific reason why I do it. And then because I have that specific reason, it just kind of like becomes like a favorite. That doesn't make sense. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like I'm not I do things because they're fun, but that's like my specific thing sometimes. Okay. That okay. Let me make this more clear. So, like for example, I'm doing the 75 hard challenge right now, and even though it's kind of like this really crazy, weird challenge, I had a really specific reason why I wanted to do it, and because I had that specific thing in my head, I am actually excited to get up and do it every morning. It doesn't seem like a checklist, even though it's kind of the two exercises a day is really kind of ridiculous, and it's starting to get hard already. But because I know why I'm doing those things, because each one of those things have a specific reason for why I'm doing it, it makes me excited to do it.
Mhm.
So it's like part of my favorite things to do. So I don't really have like a favorite thing. You know, I
Uh,
just everything I do is my favorite.
gotcha. Just
So
different favorites at different times.
yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, it depends how I feel. But they're all my favorite.
So before we wrap up here, you gonna do that YouTube video I suggested?
Yeah, okay. I mean I kind of already have something similar to
Well,
that, but yeah, I
you
can
got something.
elaborate. I can actually yeah, I can elaborate, make
I,
something
I think
specific for that.
I think honestly the personal experience of that is valuable. Writing
Yeah.
your own expectations first and foremost is probably one of the most important things I've learned. You can't like I think the best. This is the writing advice that I've heard in the past, and I've actually believed this whole long. Write a story only you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the best stories you can tell.
Mm. I
So
love that. Yeah.
yeah, right. So that is great on getting an agent. It's great on everything. Write a story only you can tell, and then go
Mm-hmm.
from there. Anyways.
I love that. Yeah.
But anyways, I think Miss Nicole, it's great to see you.
Yeah, you too. This is
Yeah,
so fun. Thank you so
yeah.
much for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to have you for a while. I felt really bad because I look at my notes and I'm like, wait, when did I talk to Nicole last? Like, oh shit, tears. I
Ah, life happens. It's fine.
yeah. But everybody, this is Nikol Popovics. She is awesome. And
Aw.
before we wrap up, I wrap up. Nicole should tell people where she can be found and what she offers to the world.
You can find me at lunchboxediting.com. I can offer you manuscript critiques and copy editing. And YouTube, I do post on there, I promise. I know I haven't posted in a while, but I have stuff in the works on my YouTube channel. Watch me flail around as I try to write my manuscript. I'm on Instagram. I don't remember my Instagram handle. I just recently changed it to something, so I don't
Don't
know.
find her on Instagram, folks. Just don't go on Instagram.
I'm on there. If you can find me, come say hi. So yeah,
Fair enough. Your YouTube channel is?
It's Nikol Popovics.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And there we go, folks.
Yeah.
This is Nikol Popovics, writer, editor, streamer, rock star, right? We ended up talking about the philosophy of life and ended up with toilet paper and everything in between. And so Nicole's one of the coolest people. Someone I miss dearly in Calgary. And hopefully, sooner than later, I'll get an opportunity to see her and the rest of the crew again down the road. Well, for everybody else watching, listening, thank you very much for watching, listening. Show if you want to support this podcast, click the like and follow buttons on my Twitch stream, Just Joshing Podcast. My YouTube channel is Joshua Pentelarusco. If you haven't subscribed to it, go ahead and subscribe. Beyond all that, guys, stay inspired, keep shining in the dark, and tomorrow, Nikki Nelson Hicks joins the show. Alrighty. Peace.